All right. After about 20 minutes of setup, we are ready to start, and
I need to go and grab the baby.
Giulio, go rapid.
Giulio, say hi, baby. Why?
How do we structure this?
Why do we want to make this?
So every 17th, we're going to be releasing a video with updates, what's going on, how we feel, fears, anxieties, and everything in between. You know, everything that we learn, all the decisions that we take and have to go through, just to get everyone on the same page. We've been together for about 3 years, more than 3 years. And about like 1 month ago, on the 17th of March, Giulio came to life.
Whoa.
You know, tons of things have happened. It's insane. We're gonna try to make some sense of it and sort of recapping it. But I would like to start maybe by sensing a bit, you know, how are you feeling, Kati?
Oof. Deconstructed.
Deconstructed.
I feel like everything I believed was gonna happen is happening in a very different way. It doesn't mean like in a bad or wrong way, but different. So I feel challenged. Yeah, I would say that's how I feel. You?
I feel just really, really happy and grateful for Giulio to be here, for us to be parents. Strangely feels very natural. All right, shall we start with a little recap of the last month? What happened?
¿Te imaginas el video?
Sí.
And yeah, so it was late in the night. Mattia was already sleeping. It was
not late, it was only 10.
Oh God.
I was getting ready to become a father, go to bed, you know, very early.
Yeah. So it was 10 and I started to feel these weird pains. And then after an hour, I felt like, okay, maybe it's coming so regularly that maybe today is the day or it's going to be soon. So I woke up Mattia around 4. We decided to go to the hospital.
All right. It's 5:01. And after a sleepless night, with a lot of contractions from Kati, we have now decided to head to the hospital and see whether the time has come or we need to wait a little longer. But yeah, off we go to Margherita, the hospital. It's Kati.
And then we got there and the contractions were like zero. And so we got sent back to the house. We were like an hour away from the hospital. Yeah, so we got back home. Then the contractions started again.
So we jumped in the car again. Going to Florence, take 2, and now we are again in the Fibili trying to get to Florence as soon as possible. This time Kat is suffering actually much more, so we're gonna rush it. Go to the hospital, they put us in the wrong place, and then finally we got into this Margherita, which is a special department where they only do natural birth, with all the pain and the ups and the downs. That was about like 2 p.m. Got into the hospital and then 4 hour.
Yeah, full on labor. And Mattia was all the time next to me, which was amazing.
Front row rawness. It's pretty raw. An experience, definitely. Funny fact, like an hour later, I hear the nurses chatting with each other saying, what time was he born again? I was just too busy, I forgot to write it down. Was it 5:30? Was it 5:45? Anyway, Giulio, you're born round about 5:30-ish. Anyway, Giulio was born, and then I had to leave, so I couldn't stay there at night. So I came back here home. Kati was left there, where, you know, you go to the hospital, you're thinking, I'm gonna give birth, and, you know, everything's gonna be fine, and I go home, happy ever after. But it's not always like that, or at least it wasn't in our case.
From before Giulio was born, I had the idea of giving birth and go back immediately to the house. I was even thinking, I will sign any paper I need to sign, I don't care. I want to go home and I want to be home with my boy and my husband and that's it. I don't want extra medical care, nothing, no? So I was in that mindset, going home, going home, going home. I don't want to stay here.
Then you're there, tired, destroyed by the whole birth process. 2 days without sleeping, or like a whole night without sleeping, like after hour, like the parties that you've never been. And then you decide to stay in. And also, it's kind of time where they do all the checks, make sure that the boy is healthy, and all the parameters are fine. And meanwhile, Kathy was getting also more and more nervous because she wanted to leave. And already it was like second day, and then this nurse comes back, and of course some of the parameters are not right. And in Giulio's case, he had something called itero, a bit too high. So it's a parameter that should be sharply going down once it's born. It wasn't going as sharply. It was taking a bit of time, and so they were like, hey, you have to stay another day. I'm like, oh God. But anyway, so we kept it there another day. And things started to improve on the itero side of things. And this is by Sunday, basically 3 days in. And as the itero improves, then they come in with another piece of data that wasn't the most welcoming, because apparently Giulio had now the sodium that was getting higher, which apparently is a sign of dehydration, which is, you could connect it to the fact that maybe it was not properly feeding, right? Breastfeeding was maybe a bit troublesome in the beginning. So they were like, okay, you gotta stay another day. And Kathy was like, oh God, take me out of here. I was like, oh, but you also think, these people know what they're saying, and you don't want to put his health at risk. So 5 days pass.
4
days passed, and then finally, he's improving. They let him out of the hospital. It's happening. Giulio, seeing the light of the day. And then it was all good. And we've been home ever since. All right, then Giulio's home, and you might think, okay, all the problems are over. You'd be surprised. And, a huge chapter opened up, which was the whole breastfeeding saga, I call it now. What are you doing, baby?
I don't know.
Multitasking.
Milking. Like, you imagine it's gonna be super easy. The baby's gonna be born, and then you're gonna put it in your boob, and milk is gonna flow down. It's not like that. It is beautiful, but it is a long process, and it's a different process for every woman, I think. It's different. And so I was not ready for that challenge, because I had no idea I was going to be like that. Still a month later, and I'm still learning. They recommended us to get some artificial milk. And so from the moment we got home, we started to give him
a combination. Of breast and artificial.
Breast milk and artificial milk.
That was for about a week. Then we went back to this nurse that was, specifically focused on breastfeeding. So this nurse tells us that we can stop to give any additional milk. So we did that for a whole week, and then we went to weigh him like after a week, and he was not picking up weight, right? You're like, God, we must be doing something wrong. So at that point, we decided to sort of add additional milk. Let's make sure that at least it gets enough to grow, and then we're gonna work on doing it naturally through breastfeeding. Rushed to the store, got some formula. We were doing that with a
syringe.
With a syringe, really horrible process, and it started to grow at that point. It started to put on some weight after like 3-4 days, which was really relieving. And at that point, we decided, okay, let's now find the best possible formula out there, or like replacement for milk, right? In the end, we are now testing donkey milk, which is worth a fortune. It's insane how expensive it is. We've just been across Tuscany to buy some donkey milk for Giulio, because it needs a little extra milk. And first thing, my God, it's already packed in polystyrene. Styrofoam, it's not what I was hoping for. Let's Let's see what's coming. Oh my goodness. It's a lot of plastic. That's 5 liters of donkey milk, which seems to be the best milk for babies. The closest replacement for breast milk. So hopefully he's gonna like it. I'm just telling this thing very dry and logically, but it was quite of an emotional ups and downs, a lot of downs.
A lot of drama.
A lot of drama here. And maybe you want to talk about the drama a bit more, because I was kind of witnessing from outside, but I think you felt it first.
No, this thing with the formula challenges your role, no, as a mother, as a provider. Like, am I not enough? What am I doing wrong? Am I not eating well? There must be something wrong with me. It's never with the baby. It's you, because you are the one in charge, no, the one who can do something. So that mixed with all the tiredness and
Hormones, I heard.
a lot of hormones, yes. It can be dramatic.
Now we're gonna go on to a few learnings, a few things that we came to understand in the last 30 days. Starting from an idea that we had, or at least that I had, or that I still have. I still really believe that our body knows it better, right? They know what they need. And I really sort of projected this onto the baby and her body. And I was like, okay, they know it better. We don't need a doctor to tell us what to do and what to give and so on and so forth. And in the last 30 days, I came to realize that yes, but also no, because he's still learning, right? And, for example, for a whole week, when he was left to breastfeed, on itself without any additional milk, we thought he knew. He was attached the whole time, but apparently he wasn't pulling enough. So, yeah, I think I got to rethink my position there. And sure, they know, but they are also learning.
We all have different timing and rhythms. What if Giulio needed 2 months and not 1 month or 1 week to get to the normal weight for his age? I still feel that matching these expectations could be very dangerous, can be very dangerous.
Mm-hmm. Or problematic.
Yeah, and also mentally dangerous. I think it's very important to be surrounded by your family, having a network that you can rely on, more than just your husband. Yeah, that things take time to settle, like having big expectations that things are gonna just go the way Instagram tells you, or YouTube, or a book. It's not like that, because we are all different individuals, and we all go through maybe the same situations, but we all experience them differently.
Another learning that I sort of experienced in the last 30 days is that trust is very difficult to be found at this time and age in society. I find it very difficult to trust, or who to trust. You have previously we would trust institutions, but even now, you question almost immediately, even a doctor or a pediatrician or a nurse. You question them, what's their motives behind, of like all these conflict of interest, and the pharmaceutical company behind. And then, who do you trust? You trust the web, which is also a mess on itself. You never know where to find the truth. You trust your parents or your family, which they have just, an opinion, I guess.
The neighbor, the other one.
Or Giulio.
Yeah, and in that process, I think that we forgot to trust the most important thing, which is our intuition. Like, we are so disconnected from our intuition because we were told that we need to believe what the doctor said, what the book said, what this one and the other one, and the internet and Google and whatever. And we are kind of disconnected from ourselves and from the natural rhythms that we have. And I think that is the place that we should go and ask for answers and teachings.
All right, the last chapter of this video is regarding sort of challenges ahead. And this is the first bag of trash from Giulio of his life. It's about 10 days, 12 days worth of diapers, not biodegradable diapers. And off we go to a life of waste.
The vaccines, I don't know what to do.
I think we need to do more research on that.
Leave your comments. What should we do?
Another challenge is to slowly try and find a bit of a life, work, baby balance. Last month has been completely off to the moon. As you know, we develop routines, and as he also understands days and nights and food and poo, then I think it's gonna get easier.
Keep tuned if you want to know how it goes. Yeah, another thing that we are facing now is how to keep a balance between this intuition and the way we want to raise Giulio, kind of more connected to natural healing and not so much connected to the Western medicine, which is very medicalized.
Yeah, well, so I think one of the challenges that we see, very aggressively, the doctors and medicine coming into our life with Giulio. There's there's already a whole host of like appointments in the next year, vaccines, and really coming to terms with these big machines that is the whole medicine apparatus, and a life of just a little baby that wants to be healthy.
I think we both believe that prevent illness is something that starts at home without going to any extreme, but just find a healthy balance for him. Let's see how it goes.
The last challenge for me, which is a bit more of a high-level philosophical, is how to balance love and care, extreme love and care for the baby, and spoilage. You gotta give it all, you gotta protect him all, you gotta be extremely protective, and I think that's probably the one worst thing that you can do as a parent, overprotecting this baby, which needs to make his mistake, get his flus, fall its time, break his bones. That's just all part of becoming a strong Homo sapiens. And I think as a parent, this is such a difficult thing because you want to give it all, but I think we have to learn to distance ourselves.
You want him to feel your love, but you don't want to ruin him by loving in a wrong way.
And very much looking forward.
No, déjalo así.
Sí, ma è un po' un casino demasiado. Dai.
Make sure to subscribe.
And I guess we'll see you next month.
First video for Giulio.